And welcome back to Stormworks Basics tutorial. So in this tutorial we're going to go over the manual parts that came out last week. Thought I'd take a little time and just figure some of these things out and we'll do it on screen so that way we can do it together, and you know that I haven't pre-planned this and figured them all out and make it look too easy. So we'll do it all at once. So seem like pretty simple parts, but let's go ahead and just build a base here. And this is something that I've been pretty excited for. Really, I've been looking forward to some manual parts for a while. Um, especially for if you're trying to make some period pieces that are, before electricity. It's nice to have these sorts of parts. They're also, the more parts, the better for decoration. So let's try to get into this here. So right here, we have the fluid pump manual. We're going to start with this. So what I'm going to do here is really simply, I'll take a medium tank. I'll actually take two here. Take two medium tanks. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one pump, put it, let me rotate it here, like so. And then, let's see, is this the out? That's out. And then what I'm going to do is, we can either do it with pipes or hose. I think I'll do it with a hose. That way it can be as though you were filling up a vehicle. And so we'll put a rope there. And then this one I'm going to have diesel in. And then this one I'm going to empty. And so what we'll see is we'll see if we can't get this to fill. So let's go ahead and come over here to the pump. We have 181 liters in that one. We have 0 in this one. We'll go ahead and we'll connect our hose. And we'll start pumping. And if I hold tooltips, as you can see, we're moving about 20 something liters. And if we look at this tank, as you can see, the tank is now filling up. So we have 0 in this tank, and we have 173 in this. And you can imagine that the loss where we're missing liquid is most likely in the hose. So that's why we're missing some liquid in the hose. So that's really simple, how to use the pump. So that has a lot of good applications. For example, let's build something really quick with it, kind of show what, this might be useful for. So let's take a tank again, medium tank. We can probably build something pretty small. So I think many of us have had issues in game with running out of fuel. And so if you've ever had an issue where, one of your creations has run out of fuel because, you forgot to fill it up, essentially, this could come in handy. So let's just build something really quick here. And let's find that pump. All right. And so something really simple like this that you could carry with you to go fill up a vehicle. Not the prettiest thing, but my goal here is just to have something pretty pretty portable here. I've had to do this before in the career build series. I've actually had to go fill up a boat that I ran out of fuel with. And so you can do that with gravity, but it's nice to be able to do it with pumps because this way you can get it up a gradient. So you can see you can grab the handle. This one might be a little on the heavy side, but curious what this weighs. But as you can see, we can move it by hand, and then we could put it down and we could fill it. Go ahead and hook it up and pump it. So that's just proof of concept, something you could do with this that is kind of cool and nice. So again, I think these parts are really cool. So let's go look at some of the other ones here. And so what we'll do next is let's do some more tanks. And turn on symmetry just so I can find the center point. Alright, so we have one there, and then what I'll do here is I will go up a little bit. So this one will be gravity fed. And actually probably do like that. And then here is the new fluid on-off valve manual. So let's go ahead and stick this here. This is very simple. This is also something I've been looking forward to. I'm a huge sucker for small parts. So, you know, the other valves are, you know, they're 2x2, but let's bring them up. They're 2x2 long, but if you notice, they're also 2 across, so they actually take up 4 blocks here. So this is how much space you need for the valve, is this 4-block section there. You know, so the valves are very cumbersome when they're like this. So, you know, if we have in a volume of diesel here, and we take out the volume of diesel there, and we go ahead and spawn this, again, no electricity needed here. That's, you know, the great thing. We have an empty tank, we open our valve, and as you can see, the diesel drains in. So this has a lot of good applications for things like old steam trains, you know, older builds, but it's nice to have some manual stuff where we don't require any electricity. So that is the manual valve. Pretty simple. Again, in engineering, simple is safe, so that's always nice to have. Let's see, what is the hand crank? People have been making some really cool stuff with the hand crank. You know, essentially you're getting torque out of this, so you know, really any applications for torque. So people have been building vehicles. You need to remember that gearing is important. So for electrical generation, you want low torque, high RPM. And so again, we'll go over gearboxes really quick. If you point the arrow at the work, essentially the engine or the motor, or in this case, us hand cranking, it's going to convert torque to RPS. So essentially what you're getting is, so let's go to 3 to 1. So for every 1 rotation of the hand crank, we'll get 3 rotations after the gearbox. If I pointed the arrow the other way, for every 3 rotations of the handle, I'd get 1 rotation of whatever I put after the gearbox. So the more rotations we get, the lower our torque. The more rotations, the more rotations we get, the lower the torque. The fewer rotations we get after the gearbox, the more the torque. So if you need to get a big, heavy vehicle moving, you're going to want more torque. That's why you often down gear cars. And the opposite is true for things like propellers. You want to up gear propellers. So we're going to point that towards the engine, 3 to 1. Let's go ahead and we will do a generator. All right, so we'll just do a small gen. And then again, this is the first time I've ever touched these. And we'll just stick a light on here. Real simple. And so, you know, you can see some of the great stuff people have already made in the workshop of you see some of the great things people have already made in the workshop that are, you know, can crank cars and boats and stuff like that's really awesome to me. Just the ability to, you know, maybe have a little dinghy that you can hand propel. So let's see what we're getting here. See if it's working. Output's very low here, so we probably need to gear up. Oh, I didn't turn on the light, so let's turn the light here. So to a constant on signal, that always helps to actually turn it on. Let's go ahead and turn that on, and we'll see what we get here. Again, you can stack. So you can see we get nice bright light here with 1 gearbox, 1 gen. So, you know, this isn't, you know, probably what you're going to use this for is cranking lights. But, you know, it actually stays on. Looks like it stays on for quite a while. So we'll see how long it takes for that to go out. But, you know, you've seen some great stuff on the workshop of people making little cars and stuff like that, and hand crank boats. That stuff's really cool. You know, you used to have a lot of hand cranked backup stuff and things like World War II airplanes, like you could hand crank the gear down. So, and it's also an awesome part for doing things like RP. And so eventually I think this will, you can see the electricity is going down. So it looks like the generator actually acts like a battery, which is kind of cool. I didn't know that, so learning new things here. But as you can see, the light turns on for a little while, so this is actually kind of cool. If you wanted to build like a little house or a little old-timey boat, you know, and you have to hand crank up your lights, and then eventually they'll go out, and I assume it gets dim and just drops off. That's really cool, and so you know, I think that's kind of nice. So let me just really quickly check. I don't think there are any more parts. Again, this is the first time I play with them, so it's kind of fun to do this. Yep, pump, crank, and valve. So those are the three parts. There's certainly hundreds of things you can do with these. You know, so I would say, you know, get playing with them. But these are the basics of them. These are some of the things you can do. Again, if anything you need electricity for, you see this is still making electricity. This still has quite a bit of electricity. You see how slowly that's going down. You could charge up a battery with this. Let's do that really quick. So if you had a, this is a good proof of concept. So let's say you want to have a little electric boat or something. You could make it where let's make our battery dead. Actually, this is really awesome. Let's say that you have a creation, right? What I often do is I'll do backup batteries, and so I'll do a battery that has its own switch. And so if I accidentally run down my main battery, say I leave the power on or something happens, you know, you're kind of stuck out there. Well, now you can have a hand cranked electricity where what we'll do is we'll go like this. And now what's going to happen is we'll charge that battery up as well. And let's say you're stuck out in your boat and you run out of electricity here. Let's go ahead and charge this up. You see, it's going to take a while just because I could, you know, I would probably need to gear this up more. But let's do that really quick. Let's make a, let's get rid of this light. All right, and so again, gearing is your friend here. So let's talk gearing really quick. People often mess up the gear ratios. So again, let's make these all face the hand crank. Let's merge that on there. All right, and we'll do all three ones just for now. And I'll show you how to do the math. The math's pretty simple. It's fractions. And you're multiplying your fractions. I keep hearing people add them. You don't add them. You multiply them. So 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27 times 3 is 81. So that's 81 to 1. So for every one crank we do here, we're doing 81 cranks of this generator. And so let's see if we can't charge this battery up a little bit faster now. And so if we look at there, you can see our RPS is now 17 RPS. Output's 2. And so you see we've moved quite a few decimal places. This isn't going to be, you know, super duper fast, but, you know, the thing of it is, you know, all you really need in a, you know, say you had a boat and the battery ran dry, is all you really need is the ability to get the engine started. Once the engines are started, hopefully your electrical generation system can get going there. So just a couple ideas what to do with these new parts. I love new parts. These are parts I've been asking for quite a while, and I'm thrilled that the devs put them in. I think they're really cool. People seem to be enjoying them, making all sorts of interesting, cool crap. So we'll see you in the next tutorial video.